This is Newsnight live on Joy 99.7 FM and affiliates across Ghana's region, 16 regions, and formal probe by the Office of the Special Prosecutor into the work of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining underway as Professor Frimpong-Boateng provides evidence that will pave way for further probe. Also tonight, Attorney General criticizes judges for giving lenient sentences and bail conditions to illegal miners as he pushes for illegal mining to become a non-bailable offense.
Practice whereby bail is granted on very lenient terms, clearly unwarranted. Immediately the bail is granted, the perpetrators of the offense go back to illegal mining. The Supreme Court held that every offense is bailable. Yeah. I find that, with all respect, very much of a challenge.
Also, 22 out of the 50 suspected illegal miners on trial in the eastern region have absconded due to the bail regime. Details plus an update on mine collapse in the eastern region has claimed 7 lives so far.
We need to get the proper equipment and find out if truly only 10 people were trapped. Unfortunately, if there is somebody down there, the person can never be alive because the situation down here is very, very, very terrible.
Also tonight, local authorities scrambling to the aid of Ketu DA Primary School, where it is emerging that teachers are forced to teach under humiliating conditions. In today's edition of Ghana's Schools of Shame, we introduce to you the concept of writing in the air in the absence of blackboards.
With this our condition is very difficult because assuming I was having all the facilities, I wouldn't have been struggling as I'm struggling.
And much later in the bulletin, the death of another Ghanaian high life legend, Kwejo Akwabwa. That and more in tonight's edition of Newsnight. Plus, the very latest, the Functional Executive Committee of the NDC has just declared Edem Agbana winner of the Ketu North elections.
Indeed, and let's start with that. This is just developing in the last few minutes. So we've just been speaking to the Deputy General Secretary on Top Story, who confirmed that Mustafa Gbande. You recall, whilst we were covering this extensively on Saturday, first we heard that Edem Agbana had won this by a single vote, and then there was a recount, and then the Electoral Commission declared a runoff. That generated a lot of controversy. The Functional Executive Committee, from what we now understand, have met both Edem Agbana and the other contender in the race, and they've settled now, declaring Edem Agbana a winner of that particular contest. As I introduced him earlier, he joins us. Edem, now I can say congratulations properly are in order.
Thank you so much, my brother, and let me say good evening again to our listeners.
And tell me, what's the feeling now? This was too close to call, and then they say you had to go into a runoff. Now the functional executives have settled this. Give me the reaction.
Well, 8 of us entered into a contest as an aspirant in the contest. I've always known there was a very, very competitive election, and from the results that we had, clearly it was even more competitive than we imagined. Now we have been declared winners. We have always believed that we won the election, but for some little challenges that led to the current impasse, we are grateful to the Special Committee of the National Executive Committee for their ability to bring to a closure all the issues surrounding the declaration of the results. Rather than jubilating, I would wish to use the opportunity to call on all stakeholders, all my team members and the team members of the other candidates to come together and let's work for victory in 2024. Because if out of 1,261 people who voted, I gathered 360 votes to win, it tells you the weight of responsibility that lies ahead. And so, yes, I am excited. Yes, I'm happy I've won the election. But again, I'm not oblivious to the fact that there's a lot of work to be done to help President Mahama get the 85% minimum vote that I promised the good people of Ketu North when I was campaigning.
Have you managed to speak to your key contender who was declared, you and the two of you, it was declared that there was a tie? Have you spoken to him at all?
Yes, he was in a meeting with his lawyers, and so we met at the meeting, and so all of us were there when the verdict was delivered. And so I believe that we'll work together. I will still go ahead and extend an olive branch to him. I will invite him on board so that together we'll work for Ketu North. You definitely cannot underestimate his strength, because he lost by just a vote. So I think that we as a people will do a lot of work to unite and work for a better Ketu North. It is time for us to come together and put the interests of the party ahead of us. The weight of responsibility that is on me as a candidate is very heavy, and I certainly can't carry it alone. I will need the support of everyone, including those who contested, including the campaign teams of all the other candidates, all the constituency and regional executives, and everybody else must be involved in helping us retain the seat for the NDC with the 85% margin, victory margin that we promised the people when we were campaigning.
The Deputy General Secretary says, in this meeting also, the National Chairman directed that you also render an apology for some words you had uttered shortly after this became controversial.
I did, yes, and I accepted it. I rendered the apology. I was given 7 days, but right after the announcement by the General Secretary, I took advantage of the presence of some media houses there, and I publicly apologized to all those who were affected by some utterances that I made. We all recognize that in the heat of the moment, you know how competitive and the kind of tension that surrounded the elections. I said certain things that the party considered not good enough, and I accepted responsibility and apologized. And I think that is also a hallmark of great leaders. You recognize when you err, and you make the apologies and not repeat those things again. So I apologize already, but I can use your platform again to apologize to all the executives that were affected by some of my utterances, whether the regional or constituency executives. Like I said after the meeting, we all need to come together and work together to build the Ketu North that we want. We need to do a lot to get all the votes that we can for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to become President of the Republic of Ghana in 2025.
Thank you very much, Edem Agbana. Edem Agbana was the former Deputy National Youth Organizer of the NDC and won that elections initially. There was a recount. It turned out to be a tie, which became very controversial. That matter had now been resolved. He's been declared winner of that particular contest. Still here on Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM.
Ever visited a shop, picked a whole basket of provisions, toiletries, and very essential things you need, battled a long queue to finally pay, only to be told you can't pay to a merchant number? The way that thing they pay, but with Vodafone Cash, there is no problem. Now on Vodafone Cash, you can pay all merchants on all networks. Easy peasy. Aye straight. Aye direct. Aye sharp. From your Vodafone Cash wallet to any merchant number on other networks. So whether you are buying provisions or fuel, medication or food, whatever the service or need, just pay conveniently from Vodafone Cash to any merchant's number. Simply dial *110# to make payment to merchants on other networks today.
Vodafone.
Wouldn't you prefer an apartment hotel? One that offers the utmost convenience of a boutique hotel while offering the idyllic comfort of your own private home. Oasis Park Residences offers luxury studios, 1, 2 and 3 bedrooms both for short and long-term rental at competitive rates. Our sky swimming pool, gourmet outdoor restaurant, and a fully equipped gym rest on a breathtaking rooftop with panoramic views of the city. Oasis Park Residences, located at Shiashi Tetekwashi, 10 minutes from the international airport, is the ideal place for all your accommodation needs. Why don't you give us a call on 020-4343-009 or visit our website at oasisparkresidences.com to make your reservations. Oasis Park Residences, more than a home.
My name is Nana Brown.
Many people think I get what I want anytime because I am popular. No, that is not true. It is because me and Kasano, I like the best, and when I find it, I stick to it. I have found Bell Pack Tea Roll, and I'm stuck with it. It is soft but not weak, strong but not hard. It is just perfect. Bell Pack Tea Roll is smooth and gentle on the skin. Same as Bell Pack Kitchen Towel. It cleans in one wipe. You can soak, squeeze, and clean again. One Bell Pack Kitchen Towel lasts longer and saves you money. It's time you switch to Bell Pack today and experience the perfect paper tissue. Say pocket tissue, table napkins, tea roll, and a kitchen towel. Paper chow. Bell Pack is simply the best. Bell Pack, just perfect.
To be a Bell Pack distributor, call 055-11-44400. Another quality product from Bell Aqua.
Nothing feels so good like Bell Pack.
It's a live your news night. It's on Joy 99.7 FM.
Now, the Office of the Special Prosecutor is set to open a formal probe into content of the Professor Frimpong-Boateng report on illegal mining. Well, the former Environment, Science and Technology Minister, who also served as the chairman of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, today provided more details on his expose when he appeared before investigators at the Office of the Special Prosecutor. There's more in this News Desk report.
On April 20, a leaked report compiled by Professor Frimpong-Boateng had the former minister name some top government officials as being complicit in the illegal mining menace.
My report was not to indict anybody, but just to tell the one who asked me to write the report the problems that we face and what I think should be done. It may not be a perfect report, but I stand by everything that I wrote. You know, every Ghanaian is committed. We should show our commitment in the way we act. And eventually, the final analysis, the state of the water body, the state of the forest, and all these things will tell us whether we are committed or not. We can say anything, we can investigate anything we want, but in the final analysis, we have to look at what is happening on the ground, and then we can take our own decisions.
In the report, the renowned heart surgeon indicated that the rot goes as high as the seat of government, the Jubilee House. Professor Frimpong-Boateng stressed that the allegation of some 500 mason excavators seized from illegal miners in 2020 were fabrications of some persons in government to get him sacked. Following the claim, there were calls from a section of the Ghanaian society for the state security agencies to look into the report. Subsequently, President Akufo-Addo asked the Ghana Police Service to probe the matter. Today, before the investigators of the Special Prosecutor, Professor Frimpong-Boateng provided response to activities and expenditure of the dissolved Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining related to the seizure and management of excavators, machinery, road vehicles, and gold nuggets. But Attorney General and Minister for Justice Godfrey Dame says the content of Professor Boateng's report does not tell the whole story.
I will indicate that, or it suggests that it is not the full perspective of issues that were addressed by the respected professor. And it's just his view on certain matters. And it has been put through the processes. I understand that there are some petitions as charged and Special Prosecutor's Office. That is the process that we...
He, however, insists the work of the Interministerial Committee helped in addressing the damage to the environment caused by mining firm Imperial Heritage.
I think the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining has succeeded in seizing the equipment of Heritage Imperial. For me, it lies foul in the mouth of any person to criticize the actions of the IMCM at that time. The hypocrisy will be manifest when you take account of the fact that after I had made an application to the High Court, just on hearing the discussion on Joy FM, unfortunately the High Court had upheld the application after a lot of arguments and all that. Then those who were actually berating the government for incurring such judgment debt started questioning why the Attorney General has succeeded in getting the judgment set aside. And I felt that was really without basis, and if for nothing at all, we ought to be commended.
Well, let's bring in Elton Brobia, Presidential Affairs Correspondent, monitoring events at the Office of the Special Prosecutor, joining us via phone with further updates on today's investigations. Elton, what have we been able to pick up from the OSP?
Right, so Emefa, information I've gathered, and I'm still digging, suggests that the interrogation lasted for about an hour and 45 minutes. What I'm picking is that this was just to set the tone for further interrogation on the matters that are before the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Same matters that were, given to Professor Frimpong-Boateng to prepare to appear before the committee today. So at 10 a.m., he was there with his lawyers. And then my information is that after an hour and close to 45 minutes, they brought today's proceedings to an end, with the hope that they will continue to engage in more. So today was to set the tone for what is to come and to get him to provide all the information that the special prosecutor requires to enable them to come to a decision. But what I'm picking, even though yet to be confirmed, is that at some point during the interrogation, the officers were in a dilemma as to prefer charges against the professor, charges that may have led to his former, if you like, arrest and caution. But that did not happen. That is what I'm picking. And that's after this back and forth, Professor Boateng was discharged with the hope that they would be called upon to assist the committee in their investigation. My information is that they did not go into the content of the report that he submitted to the Office of the Chief of Staff, but he made it clear to them that he did not leak the report to the leader. Indeed, he submitted the report. There are only two people or two officers that officially give that report to: the Office of the Chief of Staff and the CID, that's the Department of the Ghana Police Service. And that the CID or the Chief of Staff office could have been the reason why the report is happening. And the only reason why he's out there speaking to us is that some people tried to distort some facts in the report. But that was not the issue before them today. Today, they started with the issue of the work that the committee did, the reference that was made to him to prepare and appear before it, including the seizure of the excavators, the gold nuggets that the claim is that, could not be accounted for, and that the committee should be able to provide information about the whereabouts of the gold nuggets. Also, expenditure regarding the entire operation. These were some of the things that they requested of him. But today being the foundation stage, they are hoping to engage him more on subsequent real issues regarding the work of the committee, and then hopefully come to the report that he submitted. According to him, from what I'm saying, the report is submitted to the Chief of Staff and also to the CID, because it's also being interrogated by the police administration.
Okay, but Elton, do we know when next Professor Frimpong-Boateng will be appearing before the OSP for further investigations to continue, like you've been saying?
It is unclear for now. My information is that they've told him that he should stand in readiness to be called upon any time to appear before the OSP.
And are they looking at other personalities involved in this to be invited too by the OSP?
Already we've been told that all they needed today was to have him confirm officially before them that he authored this report, which has become a major, media scrutiny. And he did so today. Even before doing that, my information and for my checks with the OSP, pointed me to the fact that they have actually lined up tall list of people that they'll be inviting to assist in their investigation. Already, the former secretary of this committee is already in court under the auspices of the OSP, and there's been a back and forth as to when he will appear before. Because already, according to them, the process is already ongoing. They are only getting into other areas because of the report that's already in circulation.
Okay. That's Presidential Affairs Correspondent Elton Brobe with details from the OSP.
You're still listening to News Night on Joy 99.7 FM. Tonight, local authorities in the Wild West District are now scrambling to provide much needed support as a dedicated teacher, Matilda Dosola, in Ketu DA Primary School faces an extraordinary challenge in their quest to educate students after a devastating incident where strong winds swept away the chalkboard she had purchased for her classroom. Dosola's frustration gave birth to innovation, air writing. She gestures through the air while her diligent pupils meticulously transcribe the invisible lessons before them. Shortly, we'll hear from some local actors on what help they can provide. First, here is Jojo Kobaner's latest report on Ghana's schools of shame from the Ketu DA Primary School.
Strong winds and heavy rains pulled down a madhouse structure that served as a classroom in Ketu, a community in Wild West District of the Upper West region. The chalkboards were also destroyed. About 3 classes were forced to relocate under a tree. So the teacher in primary 2, Matilda Dosela, tried to get another chalkboard, but that one was also carried away by another strong wind. Frustrated, she organized a PTA meeting, but the parents are yet to raise enough funds to buy plywood for the chalkboards.
There was a time we called for PTA, so they raised some small amount. But looking at it, it will not reach all the classrooms, and it's not each person that removed the money; it's the whole community. So we are still appealing to add more, so that we can get some plywood, and so that we'll be managing for the meantime.
Matilda has started something called air writing. This simply means gesturing in the air for pupils to write.
To write the letter A, slant the number 1 to the left and extend another number to the right. Now, join the 2 lines horizontally.
So this is our A. Abi, enter. Enter.
Writing in the air for pupils to write is not only stressful, but also ineffective.
With this our condition is very difficult because assuming I was having all the facilities, I wouldn't have been struggling as I'm struggling. I would have just showed there would have been some objects. I will even show that this is that. And
Don't they have my first copy book or the phonetic writing?
Nothing. They don't have.
They don't have what?
They don't have my first copy. There was a time we requested for, like, the parents would come and they say they don't have money.
Kweku was unable to write the letter F, but Matilda did not give up on him.
Kweku, karamanu ento fon ekowa. From our F.
Numeracy lessons are quite easy. The children learn addition by counting stones.
Good.
Children without books also write in the sand.
Number 2. Matre.
It is the reason why the numbers here are also not encouraging. The pupils rather prefer farming to school because of the school environment. One of the children, Asonta, confesses that coming to school is no longer fun because they do not have a school building and enough teachers.
During
the raining season, we miss many classes. We cannot study. The teachers don't come to school when it rains, so we are not happy.
The headmistress of Kantu DA Primary School says they have been trying to get their pupils motivated.
The environment is not welcome. No blackboards. We are sitting on the trees and there are no blackboard for the teachers to use and teach.
A non-governmental organization in the northern region focused on education, School for Life, organized residents of Kantu to form a club to address the needs of the school. Under 8 citizen-led actions for educational accountability responsiveness projects in Ghana, members of the club have written letters to the Wild West District Assembly, but so far, nothing has been done.
We vote all the time, but there is no development. It seems we only exist to vote. We have problems in this school and our community, but they have not been solved. Next time, we will not vote.
Unfortunately, the Wild West District Assembly is cash-strapped.
They themselves have seen that the challenges within the sector are numerous, and so what do they can't sit aloof and not doing something. The assembly normally budget, like in terms of IGF, to generate about 158,000. We never got all the 158,000 within a year.
There's a clear link between infrastructure and quality education. The Ghana Education Service knows it all too well.
Feel very, very bad. Even at times, very difficult for you to visit some of the schools. Because we have seen the situation. If there had been maybe an individual issue, That one we can do, but the case is not like that. The BE's performance is lower, very, very low in terms of performance.
Until government invest heavily in education, the outcome will always be poor in the Wild West District. Jojo Kobna, Joy News.
Well, so that's Jojo Kobna's report. Evans, we've been hoping to get the District Chief Executive for Wild West, Vida Diorote. Well, earlier she agreed to be on the show, but as we speak, we are unable to reach her. But we'll work the lines and get her to give us some answers. In the meantime, though, we have the Member of Parliament for Wild West, Peter Lanchini Tobu, joining us on the line as well. We are grateful for your time here on Newsnight. I'm sure you know about Ketu DA Primary, do you?
Thank you very much. Good evening to you and good evening to your cherished listeners. Ketu is actually a community within the Wild West District. And I've been there on several occasions, but I've never visited the school. I just got wind of the fact that the school is poorly equipped and there are several challenges. While I was on a tour to thank the people for voting for me on Saturday to continue to be their Member of Parliament, I got the information. I think that it is very appropriate, if I find space within the next few days, to actually personally pay a visit to the school and assess it to see what the challenges are and see whether we can, in collaboration with the district assembly and the district education director, do something about it.
Well, my colleague Jojo Kobna tells me that at least as part of your District Assembly Common Fund, we know that you've donated some furniture amongst others. But in this particular situation, we are told about air writing, sand writing, and stone counting, which is part of how these students are learning. But since you heard about it, have you been able to reach the DC, those in charge of this, to tell us exactly why the situation is as it is now in today's Ghana?
Well, we all know that education is suffering a lot of challenges under President Nana Akufo-Addo's administration, to the point that I always recount that 30 years ago when I was in school, I had a chair and I had a table provided by government. Today, many of the schools do not have furniture. Personally, I have supported the district education directorate with about 400 dual desks to help ameliorate the pain of students who have to lie on the floor to write or learn. I have supported in the provision of some kind of support to renovate some few schools. And I think that I'm still on course. And sometimes when I see these things, I begin to think about, this is an institution that is going to produce the future leaders. If they are so demoralized within such an environment, what kind of future are we producing ourselves? It is quite a touchy area. It is quite a very sensitive area. And I think that all of us should begin to talk about it. Education is key. And if the key is the kind of thing that we are producing today, I don't know what door that kind of key can open tomorrow. It's a very serious matter.
Well, but we're also told about a school that is in the area that has been abandoned. I don't know if that has come to your attention. Meanwhile, these students are outside learning when there's a facility that they can be in. Do you know about the situation also?
Excuse me, what has been abandoned?
A school building, we are told, in this particular area that has been abandoned, completed. Meanwhile, some students are sitting outside learning.
I am not well informed about this. I need to cross-check before I can respond to that.
Okay, we're grateful then. We'll leave it here and follow up on this particular situation, especially in the Wild West area. And that's the Member of Parliament for Wild West, Peter Lanchini Tobu.
Thankfully, the Wild West District Chief Executive is joining us. Vida Diorote is on phone right now. Hello, Vida. Thanks for your time here on Newsnight.
Yeah, good evening. And then...
let me ask you about the Ketu DA Primary School. Do you know about the challenges that they've been having to deal with? Hello, Vida Diorote.
Hello.
Can you hear me, madam?
Yes. I say good evening to your cherished listeners. And then I will try to answer your questions. I was somewhere, but now I'm away from where
I'm asking you about the Ketu DA Primary School, where we've been reporting the whole day after we visited the place, the tremendous challenges that the education officials there, the teachers are dealing with. Things as basic as a chalkboard they don't have. Has that come to your attention, madam?
Are you talking about school?
Kantu DA Primary.
DA Primary School.
Yes.
And the question, could you please repeat the question for me?
The state of that school as we speak. We visited the place. Teachers there don't have stuff as basic as a chalkboard for the children. Has that come to your attention?
Okay, that one, I think one time the safety supervisor made mention of it to me. And then I took the pain to visit the school. I met the head teacher and then some of the students and equally saw the situation. Then I told the teachers and then the pupils that the assembly, it was the district assembly that put up the school, and it was ripped off. When it was ripped off, they were supported to re-roof the school. And then I think the storm ripped it off again. And then the community members also came in to do it. So it is like, I don't know, the rainstorm has been hitting that school building so hard. But the assembly, yes, we are doing something about it. We have put it in our plans, and then we are mobilizing resources to actually, there is another uncompleted building. So even that one building had been ripped off severally by rainstorm, then we are making plans to complete the other uncompleted building. And so we are in the process of actually helping the school to be a good school for the children to stay in and learn.
In the meantime, they will need a chalkboard for the teachers to use as a learning facilitator. When can you provide that? Because it wouldn't take much for the assembly to find money tomorrow and provide that for the school.
Like I said, I can't give a specific time that we can provide. We can provide the blackboards for the school, but the school they have been benefiting from what we call the capitation grant, and then there is yet another grant known as the Gallup school grant. So the teachers, they can equally use such money to procure these little things for the youth in the school. So the head teacher through the safety supervisor, I think normally they prepare the space, take it to the education office for vetting. When it is approved, then they can use the money to buy some of these items for the teaching and learning in the school. So equally, I will take it up, talk to the education director, district director of education, so that we see how they can quickly approve that money for the head teacher to use to buy the blackboards for now, and then we'll work to re-roof or to complete the other uncompleted building. I think it is a 6 unit with a fence. So if we are able to complete it, then the school can be, the teachers and the pupils should be using it for their teaching and learning.
I mean, madam, we are talking about a chalkboard here, and many will say a chalkboard for, say, 6 classrooms in a place like that won't cost more than 2,000 cedis, even far less than that, because in fact the teacher tells us the community contributed to buy some plywood, but they couldn't buy everything, so they've done their bit. It won't cost more than 2,000 cedis. The assembly cannot find 2,000 cedis tonight or yourself to provide that for the school children to learn tomorrow.
It isn't that the assembly cannot provide that amount for the procurement of the blackboards. But the question is, the school grants, the capitation grants and the Gallup grants, what is the school using, the head teacher using that grant for? Like I said earlier on, it is for some of it.
My information is that the
and
school
isn't that from the state central government?
The school hasn't received money to the school. Yes, the school hasn't received the capitation grant you talk of.
And they cannot use the money to buy chalkboard. How much plywood cost? They can use the money to buy a number of them. And then a carpenter can do it nicely for them to be using.
Madam Diorite, my understanding is that the school, they've not received the capitation grant you talk of.
And they should use the grant And then the assembly will come in. Because, like I said earlier on, there is a family that put up that first structure. And it didn't complete. So the first structure, if it is given, came in once to support. And then the rainstorm came and ripped it off again. The community also came in. And so we have seen that once it had been, the rip off had been very all the time. We will work on
Madam Dorothy, can you hear me? Madam Dorothy, can you hear me?
Yes.
If you can listen, I'm wondering, I hear you say that the school has to use their capitation grant. In the event that the school has not even used the capitation grant to provide blackboards for these children, as a mother, as a DCE, are you not worried about the situation to provide this basic infrastructure for these students?
My daughter, I am not saying I'm not worried as a mother. That is not the case. I am saying that the matter is being handled by the district assembly. But I am saying that in the situation where the assembly will also depend on common fund, district assembly common fund. And so if they come, we are not getting the common fund to use to have these basic things for them. I am saying that when the capitation grant is there, for the meantime, they can use it to buy this board and then for use. So that the heavy project that is still there, the uncompleted classroom block, assembly is making plans to complete it. The blackboards will be constructed on the walls in each class, and they can move in. When will assembly get the money to complete the structure? So I am saying that the only immediate way we can all help will be the head teachers should use that grant to buy some plywood. And then the carpenter will come in, do it, and they'll be using for the meantime. That's what I mean. I'm not saying running away from the problem, please.
We are grateful for your time. That's the DCE for Wa West, Vida Diorote there. And at this point, I feel that, Evans, let's just put money together and get this chalkboard.
Yes, we should. We should put money together and buy a chalkboard for them. And Jojo is here. And Jojo, you've been to that community. You brought us that particular report. As we've been talking, many well-wishers, individuals are ready to do so. And in the newsroom, we'll also put our own monies together and send to our regional correspondent who's close. And we can provide some relief for these children in the immediate.
Yes. I mean, many people are calling. I have 3 people who have called so far. One from the US. That man actually wants to buy them a whiteboard, and he wants to make a commitment to give them marker constantly. He doesn't want a situation whereby the children will not have markers. So we are yet to receive all these things, but definitely we have to do something immediately about it. And you could see I was actually very surprised because we have my first copy book that children can easily learn how to write, but unfortunately these children are unable to writing in the sun, and it's a disaster.
Air writing,
yes.
I have never encountered that before.
I had never ever seen anything like that in my life. It was shocking. But that is what the children in Wa West Kantu DA Primary School endure.
The DC knows about it.
Yes,
she's visited the school
because she
knows the problem. Knows that the wind swept it away, but says, well, bureaucracy, we're waiting, etc. But in the immediate, the kids are still writing in the air.
Yes, the kids are still looking at the teachers in the air while the teachers gesture, and then they write.
What's interesting is charades.
One
absolutely.
These are charades.
Yeah. The teacher took her own money to buy a board, and then
the wind swept
away. But the first one had already been provided.
The community contributed.
So she was frustrated. You can feel the frustration where you get.
This DC takes her salary, right? And they're talking about 2,000 CDs for a few classes, buying plywood, and she's not ready to use her own money to do it in the meantime and make for her to be reimbursed down the line. She's waiting for the bureaucracy to kick in. We can't wait, and so we'll do our contributions and send to the children up there, and so they can get some relief immediately in the classrooms. Thank you very much, Jojo, for that brilliant work. You can find that report across our many social media platforms and on My Joy online.com.
We have some messages that we can go through. Kofi Seidu says, how can the head teacher use capitation grant to provide chalkboard when the government owes capitation grant for close to 4 months? And that's the issue that you were raising, that many of these schools have not received their capitation grant just yet. Evans, this one from Godson in Hohoi says, this is a DC who's only occupying space. That's what we're doing to this country. And we have another one. There's a beautiful school in Sakumono complex. That's this one to which also need maintenance or immediate attention. Anytime I pass by, I cry inside me. Juju Kobna's attention and the team's attention will be drawn to this as part of our Schools of Shame series. And we have this one also that says, Emefa and Evans, how regularly have schools received the capitation grant? If it were an election year, a stretch of road would have been miraculously erected or constructed in less than 24 hours before polls. Oh God, have mercy. Common chalkboards, not even whiteboards. Jonas Tinkrang sends that one in. And this one also comes in. It says, how much is the capitation she's talking about? Maximum 600 Ghana cedis for a whole term, which is not even coming. And that's one of the messages. This one also says she can't give a specific time, and she's talking about feeding program. She's a teacher, and I'm sure. Okay, so that's your comments there on this, and many more of your messages coming in on this particular situation. And okay, this one, okay, well, we get it, and this one also.
People are getting very passionate
yes,
about
very
this,
passionate about this particular issue. I'm also very saddened by it. But many of your messages coming in will keep you updated on this particular situation. Kantu DA we would definitely do whatever it takes to ensure that these students do not continue to watch their teacher right in the air, and then they have to reproduce whatever it is that she says. Let's do business now, and Pius Kojobaka joins us with the very latest from the world of business. Hello, Pius.
Hi, Emefa, and such a touching story indeed. We all have to commit and contribute our quota to this, yeah. All right, coming up in business, officials of the Ghana Revenue Authority prevented entry into Kotoka International Airport Terminal 3 departure to arrest defaulting taxpayers. Also in this bulletin, Unified Price Petroleum Fund and fuel market margins on prices of petroleum products increased by some significant amount effective today. This is the business news on Newsnight, brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business, Ghana Pay and Alliance Life. Straight to our very first story, officials of the Ghana Revenue Authority were today prevented entry into the departure section of the Kotoka International Airport Terminal 3 to arrest about 10 business owners failing to issue VAT invoices. Now, the development left the enforcement team of the GRA with no option than to abandon the exercise, which was intended to pick up the shop owners to begin their prosecution processes. Now, according to the head of the team, Joseph Annan, the airport security were demanding prior notice of the action before they could grant the access. He's been speaking to the media after many attempts to get access failed.
Their issue was that we should have given them prior notice before visiting. But this is a covert operation. Yeah. And covert operations, we do not give prior notice. Well, when you do that, then the aim of the entire exercise is defeated. We want to know what you do when nobody is watching you. That is what it means when we talk about test patches. So we went there, but of course, they don't know what we do. We tried to explain to them, and yet they insisted that we should give them prior notice. When you look at Section 82 of the Revenue Administration Act, we have every right at all times to visit anywhere and everywhere. But the issue is that, and when they impede us, it comes with an offense. But of course, since they don't know, and we are also gentlemen, we are professionals, there was no need for us to exercise our power. So they are saying we should give them prior notice. Beginning from today, they know that we have intentions of coming to them. So hopefully, on Thursday, we shall visit them.
To some other stories, government has assured that it will not compromise on fiscal discipline when the IMF program formally takes off. The IMF board is expected to consider Ghana's program request tomorrow and possibly approve the first tranche disbursement of $600 million. Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam is the Minister of State at the Finance Ministry.
Fiscal discipline means you spend within your means. That's what fiscal discipline means. And so what it means is that we will not have off-budgetary spending. Yeah, government is committed to that, and we want to make sure as much as possible that we have expenditure controls that are working. The minister has already set up a budget implementation standing committee which I chair, and that is supposed to ensure that whatever we spend on is approved, and whatever we spend on goes through a very rigorous process of approval, so that we can keep our spending within our budget. If we will have any spending beyond the budget, that will increase our deficit levels, and we may not be able to meet the IMF requirements.
Now, Unified Petroleum Fund and fuel market margins on prices of petroleum products have gone up by some significant amount effective today. This was after the National Petroleum Authority today in a letter directed the various players in the industry to increase the margins. George Yafe has the rest of the story.
Before this letter was sent to the various oil marketing companies, bulk oil distributors and other players, anytime a litre of petroleum products was purchased by consumers, you paid 47 pesos as Unified Price Petroleum Fund. However, after this directive from the National Petroleum Authority, consumers from this morning will be paying 28 pesos more on every litre purchased. Again, when it comes to the fuel market margin, consumers were paying 4 pesos as the margin. For May 16, 2023, the margin paid on each litre of petroleum products is 9 pesos. The National Petroleum Authority, in a letter seen by Joy Business, claims that the increase in the Unified Price Petroleum Fund is to ensure that freight rate for transporting of petroleum products to the various service stations in the country reflect the current economic conditions. This levy or fund is used by the National Petroleum Authority to keep prices across the country the same, irrespective of the location. The authority also claims that the fuel market is to ensure that the quality of petroleum products are not sacrificed.
Finally, before we go, the Credit Association of Ghana has commended the Bank of Ghana for the robust regulatory support for the Tier 4 banking industry. According to the board chairman, William Ofori, the central bank has brought stability to the industry, enhancing the safety and soundness of the players. He was speaking at the launch of the association's ERP software and member portal designed to meet regulatory minimum requirements.
In fact, BOG and all those see microcredit as one of the big associations doing very well in the industry. Our challenge was with the data. That is why we asked GIZ to help us to fund this member portal. And therefore, this member portal has been launched today. The idea of member portal is that we'll be able to get data for our businesses, for Bank of Ghana, for Government of Ghana, and for all our stakeholders, both within the country and outside the country.
And that's it by way of business here on Newsnight with me, Pius Kojubaka. Back to you, Emefa and Evans.
Thank you very much, Pius. And we're getting ready for Champions League action in a bit. But